Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
Long way from home, can't sleep at night, write your telephone, something ain't right.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with our next guest, who is an absolute legend with, oh my God, amazing music that we're going to talk about, things going on. So let's welcome to the show, Carmine Appice. How are you?
Yay!
I love it.
I'm good. I've been doing tons of email interviews and website, podcast, radio. It's great. It's really good because I really love doing this album, that we did, and it's getting great reaction. So I'm real happy about that.
Well, you know what amazes me too is how many people got involved with this album. Like, I'm sure you thought that was normal, but maybe it surprised you too.
Well, it did. I mean, look at the album cover,
Right.
And when I told him I wanted to make the album look like Sgt. Pepper, the album cover, and originally the guy made it exactly like Sgt. Pepper with those things coming off his shoulder, a blue outfit, satin. I said, no, dude, not exactly like it. I just want to have all the people that played on the record in one spot. So
there you go.
He did that. He did a good job with that. And then we even added like the owner and president of Cleopatra Records and the co-owner. Co-owner was a drum student of mine. And my manager's on there, the guy that engineered it on there. My singer from Cactus, the bass player from Cactus, the guitar player from Cactus. Everybody's mixed in there with all the other guys, so it's pretty cool. I'd like to do a contest somewhere and go, who could name all the people here, all the rock stars at least, or who can name the people who are not rock stars would be even better.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what the prize would be.
Hey, they could go to one of your shows.
Yeah, that's a good idea. A good deal. But they got to live in the actual town we're playing in. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
That's right. And you got a couple great shows coming up. Like, I'm in West Palm Beach.
Oh, you are?
You're going to be right near me in Boca on the 8th.
Yes, that's right.
And
make sure you come down. Make sure you come down.
Yeah, I would love to, man, because it's going to be an amazing show for sure.
Well, I'll tell, was it Michael booked this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, tell Michael and we'll hook up the tickets for you.
Oh, that would be phenomenal because I'm sure it's going to be an amazing show.
Yeah.
And you're also going to be in Orlando on the 7th with Foghat. That's pretty cool.
And Pat Travis, I think, on that. Oh, no, Foghat. Yeah, just Foghat on the 7th. And on the 9th, it's Orlando. Yeah. Clearwater's on the first one. That's Ruth Eckwood Hall, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 9th, it's the Orlando. I don't know the name of that venue.
It's actually, I think, the info I got, I could be wrong, the 7th is Orlando at Orlando Live with Foghat, and the 9th, Clearwater. So wherever I got that information, it's probably wrong.
It's reverse.
There you go.
I know it's reverse. We just had a big thing with my manager about, the flights and who's going where, who's flying out of where, and I know they're all flying out of Orlando. So that has to be the last gig.
Well, there you go.
So that one's with Pat Travis.
I think it was pretty awesome, too, having Dee Snider sing. He sounded amazing.
He did. And, and that happened because his band back, I don't know when it was, I think it was before Twisted Sister, maybe after, I don't know. He had a band called Widowmaker. And the drummer of that band was one of my students, and he told me that he did Evil. And when I listened to it, I told him he was playing the wrong drum fill, drum groove, I should say, end fills. And when I told him, I want to have D maybe do the vocals, and he said, man, he would love to do it. So I called D, and he said, I'm in. I didn't have to say more than we're doing it, a tribute to Cactus, and we're going to do Evil. Do you want to sing it? He says, I'm in. He didn't even think about it.
Nice.
There's a few guys like that on the record, So Jim McCarty, our original guitar player, didn't know anything about D except Twisted Sister. And McCarty's like 79 years old. He knows nothing about the metal thing, because I know about it because I was in it.
Right.
He was never in it. So I knew about that D could sing. I said, no, this guy's a great singer, man. He can sing just like Rusty Day, our original singer. So he said, oh, man, I'm bummed out that he's going to sing that song. So as soon as I got the song done, I sent it to him. He goes, so who's that singing? I said, that's the guy you were bummed out about. And he said, wow, he sounds like Rusty. I said, I know he does, right? He did a great job. And a great job in the video as well.
Yeah. That's what I noticed when I listened, though, because, I'm a Twisted Sister fan.
Yeah.
But he didn't sound like Twisted Sister there.
No.
If I didn't know, I would have thought it was the original singer.
Yeah, me too. And but I know Dee's a long time, and I got all these guys on my phone. Everybody that's on the record are in my phone, pretty much. Ted Nugent's another one. Ted Nugent was like, I know Ted since 1967.
Wow.
And when I said, I want you to do this track, on the album, which one you want to do? He said, I want to do One Way or Another. I said, okay, you got it. So then I got a hold of Doug Pinnick, because I know he's a big Cactus fan. I said, I want you to play bass on 2 songs, and sing one. He goes, I'm in. I told him about the Cactus album. I didn't know, these guys I knew were Cactus fans, but some of them I didn't know. Like Steve Stevens, I didn't know. Doug Aldrich, I didn't know. Marco Mendoza from Whitesnake, I didn't know. Vernon Reed, I didn't know. So there's a bunch of them I found out when I called them. And I said, what are we doing? I said, this is what we're doing. Would you like to play? He goes, yeah, man, I'm a Cactus fan. I love Cactus, And I said, wow, I didn't know. I knew Van Halen was, because the song Eruption,
right,
their first album, was taken from the beginning of our song Swim, Let Me Swim. Did you hear that song?
I didn't even know that till you just said that now.
Okay, so listen again to the beginning. Because what we do is, we always did it. We did it at the beginning in the first album. We hit a chord, brown, and the guitar, bram, bram, brown, guitar, and then we go into the song.
Wow.
And I never listened to Eruption, because when it came out, I was with Rod Stewart, and I didn't listen to Van Halen. Then when people kept telling me about how great it was, and I listened to it, I said, whoa, this is the beginning of Let Me Swim, extended.
Wow.
Right? So on this album, I said, I'm going to extend the intro so it kind of, you can see more how it was Eruption, And then I said, I need a great guitar player that can play that. So I got Doug Aldrich to do it.
Nice.
And he just smoked it from the beginning to the end of the song. And, it's stuff like that that's, really made Cactus,
Yeah. I think, too, a lot of these people, especially the metal bands, you're an influence to them. And people don't realize that. People think metal just, metalheads are just into metal. But all us metalheads started off with bands like your band and Zeppelin and all that.
You know what? The word metal, okay? I don't know where that started. Number 1. Number 2, all the bands that you say are metal, they were hard rock bands. Quiet Riot, hard rock. Ozzy, hard rock.
Yeah.
Black Sabbath, they were hard rock.
Yeah.
It wasn't what you call metal. I consider metal started Metallica with their buzzsaw guitar. To me,
Yeah.
that's where metal started, when you call it heavy metal, because that's what it sounded like.
Right.
But all the bands before all that were big, Ted Nugent, all that stuff was always hard rock.
Well, what's interesting about what you're saying, it's so true, because when I was a teenager going to like Metallica and Slayer shows in the very beginning, bands like Quiet Riot, we didn't consider them metal. It doesn't mean they were good or bad, but
No.
they weren't metal to us.
I mean, even Slayer, they weren't that buzzsaw guitar back in the day.
Right.
All those bands, Biohazard, I mean, all those bands, they were hard rock,
Mm-hmm.
And then as the metal movement moved on, then everybody started having that buzzsaw, Metallica kind of buzzsaw guitars and fast bass drums like Lars.
Right.
And I think that's where it all started. All that stuff that's going on today started with Metallica. In my eyes, I mean, I'd be wrong, but for me, and all the stuff before that, including Black Sabbath, was hard rock. I mean, Black Sabbath was just, to me, like another Led Zeppelin coming out of Birmingham.
Well, yeah, you think about it, the original Sabbath music was very bluesy.
Yeah. I mean, we played gigs with Black Sabbath back in the day when they first came out with Cactus. And what was that one that... anyway, there's a band that's... what's his name? Bruce Springfield was in.
Oh, okay.
And we were all on the same bill. And he was rock blues. We were rock blues. And so was Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
I mean, Paranoid to me was, back in the day, was like a communication breakdown.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, And then as it went along, I mean, their sound got thicker, but it still didn't have that buzzsaw sound. So it kept, that's my own opinion.
It always
everybody
blew.
says Sabbath is heavy. They're heavy. Heavy hard rock, but, to me, that heavy metal thing, like Cactus logo behind it, Cactus, it says heavy metal on it. I lost you for a minute. That looks like it's made of metal.
Yeah, it does. That logo alone can make a great metal album.
Yeah, right? It's the logo, yeah. I think I'm making shirts of that, but that looks better than the shirt.
So you've been doing this such a long time. How do you keep all the excitement about music that you do after, 50 years or more?
Look, I live in Florida. You live in Florida. There's a lot of people like Nico and Tico, they play golf. People say to me, do you play golf? I said, no. I said, what do you do for a hobby? I said, I play drums.
Nice.
So I just love playing drums. I love creating music. I have a studio in my house now. And, like this whole album started with the drums, which usually is an unusual way to start an album. Usually you have, if you can do it like that, you have a click, a guitar, and a vocal, and then you put the drums on. But I started the other way because, I didn't know any better way to start it because I'd have to get a guitar player and a singer to play everything, and it just would have taken a lot of time. So at first I started like Parchman Farm and One Way or Another, and I just sang the song in my head I had a click going, and I sang the song in my head as I played, and it went really well. But then I said, you know what, this is too difficult to do another 12 songs like this, so I have to figure a way to do this. And I put the click on, and then I actually sang the song verbally onto the click on my machine. So like I was doing Evil, I go bam, bam, drum fill. Da-da-da-dan, da-dan, 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 drum fill, bam, bam, drum fill. Then sing the song, Long Way From Home, da-da-da-dan, da-dan, I went through the whole song like that. And then I had something to play to, right? Instead of me humming it in my head, I was playing it to this. And then when the solo came out, solo, and then solo 2. And I know what they are because I played these songs. And then I said, this is going to work. And then I did every song like that. And then I
Nice.
sent it to my singer, Jim Stapley, who played guitar and harmonica. He put down a rough guitar and harmonica and sang a vocal. Then we sang to the bass player. He put a bass on. And that's James Caputo. Now that was the band Cactus that I toured with. So once I got that, then I would call people like Ted Nugent, what song you want to play, one way or another. Okay, here's the song, you know. Okay, you want it with or without Doug Pinnick? He said, oh, give me Doug Pinnick. So before I send it to him, I got Doug to play on it. And he would sing it, then we send it to Ted. You know, same thing with Evil. Doug put the bass on it. We had Jim McCarty on guitar, and then we put the vocal on it. You know, so it was a lot of that. It took a year to do this.
I imagine it did.
It did. It did. It wasn't like, you know, something that you did in 3 weeks. Like some albums I did, we recorded in 3 weeks, you know. But I'm very happy with the finished product. And I got my engineer, co-producer, Pat Regan. He's a musical guy. He's a keyboard player. He would fix anything that was non-musical or musical that I would miss. Like, for instance, when we did Rock and Roll Children, we had Vernon Reid on it. When he did Vernon Reid the solo, we had bass, Rudy Sarzo, me, and Vernon was doing a solo. But the riffs he was playing and the scales he was playing were very unusual. And Pat said, these are very unusual. It needs something on it to, you know, with chords to tie it into what we're doing. So he said, I'll put some keyboard on it. So he put a keyboard on it. When I heard it, it sounded like a rhythm guitar, right? But it made sense. Then it made the whole area that he was playing make more sense, where he was playing different chords and different riffs and leads. The chords that Pat was playing tied into what he was doing, and it made it sound a lot better. You know,
Wow.
so it was just a lot of cool stuff going on in that most people wouldn't even know about. You know,
Well, that's the difference when you're a pro, right? When you've been doing this that many years, you know.
And I learned how to play drums to a click. And then I was really mad back in the early 80s because why I didn't do this with King Cobra, I don't know. But, you know, I was tired of like doing a track and say we're going to do a song. Okay, let's do the drums first. Do the drums, play, the band plays the track. We do the track, 15 tracks into it. You still ain't got the drum part, right? So that means I got to do it again over and over until we get a drum part we like. And then the guitar players go in, they erase all the guitar, they play to the drums. The vocals, same thing. But the drums could never do that. So I said I was working at Posture Records where they recorded the Quiet Riot record. And I did the Ted Nugent record in there that I played on. And I didn't like the drum sound, so I told the engineer and Spencer Prophet, a producer of the studio, and he owned Posture Records that released the Quiet Riot record. I said, we got to change the drum sound in here. This is terrible. So we changed the drum sound. And the first band to use it was Quiet Riot. They sold 5 million. Every time I saw Frankie Benelli, I said, you did that with my new drum sound there. He gave me a kiss on the cheek, says, thank you. You know, but then I said, then I gotta do this somehow. I gotta be able to record the drums and punch in and out like the guitar players do, like everybody does. So I worked with the engineer, Dwayne Barron, who went on to produce the No More Tears album with Ozzy. And we went in and I said, oh, let's put the drums down and let's put a track down and let me punch in the vocal, you know? And let me punch in a vocal. And we punch it in, then I heard, oh, the cymbals were cut off. I said, okay, let me do it again. Next time I'll hit both cymbals. So to cover it up, we did it, and that's good. So once we did that, then we learned how to punch in and out. So from then on, 1982, I was playing drums, punching in and out. I did the Vanilla Fudge Mystery album like that. I did an album with Rick Derringer called DNA like that. I didn't do the King Cobra record like that. Why? I don't know. And then after that, I did the Blue Murder record. I did it twice. We did the whole record. And then the next time, Bob Rock said, we got a much better drum sound. You want to do it over? I said, sure. We did the whole record over with the drums. And I've been doing it ever since. So doing this record, you know, I was able to do that. Like I was I never move the drums that are in my studio. I never take them out to play live. I have other drums for that. The microphones, everything stays the same. The AC and humidifier is on. So humidity in there is same all the time. AC keeps it the same temperature. So the drums don't expand, and they stay the same. So I can go in there after we get somebody to play on it, and then I go, you know what? With the guitar, I don't like what I played. I'm going to change it. I can go in there and punch it in. And I'm my own engineer now. That's why it says on the album, Drum Sounds at Realistic Rock Studios with me as the engineer. Realistic Rock was a giant drum book I have. So I called it a Realistic Rock Studios, which it is. And now I engineer my own drums, and I give it to Pat, and he makes it even better. That's why this album has a great sound. Everyone I talked to said the sound of this record is amazing. The drum sound and everything, you can hear everything,
And even Brian from Cleopatra Records suggested that you do this album.
Yes.
And so that says a lot too.
Well, it's really wild how it happened. I've done a bunch of stuff for Brian. I did 2 instrumental albums. I did another Cactus album, new one. I did a couple of albums that he found that were live, like the first time we ever played with Jimi Hendrix. He released it, and the Cactus records do good on his label. So he came up with this idea. He said, "Do you think you can do that?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that." Because in the 90s, I did a record called Guitar Zeus, and I got all the greatest guitar players on it. Yeah, and I said, "Yeah, I can do this." So we did it, finished it, and then I'm watching like Foghat. And Foghat just got the #1 spot on the blues charts in Billboard. And same thing with Robin Trower. I said, they're the same kind of band as Cactus, so why not market it as a blues record?
Yeah.
So I told Brian that, and he said, that's a great idea. He said, let's change it to Temple of Blues. And I said, let's continue the Influences and Friends. Great idea.
Oh, amazing.
So now last week it was #6 on the Amazon pre-orders for blues, right?
Nice.
It was 17, went up to 6, and went a little higher. That's tapering down because it's not released yet. But he just told me today he's gotten major Spotify streaming on the Ted Nugent track one way or another because they keep releasing singles. We've got the first video. We're working on the second and third videos. So in between that, they keep releasing singles. Is they're really serious about this record, because it was his idea.
Right.
Yeah, but it's doing great. He said, this is going to be a breakout record for you. It's already breaking out. I said, wow. I said, what's the next one we're going to do?
Right.
He said, your team, you and your producer, and whoever's working with you is you're making a fantastic record. He did another thing which I can't talk about, but it was a female artist that had. You wouldn't even think of her as a rock artist, but she did a version of Purple Haze. So he sent me the vocal, and we put Cactus behind it, and it just sounds unbelievable.
Wow.
And he only did it with me because he said, because the Cactus record sounds so good that I want to do this artist with Cactus backing her up.
Wow.
So it's really, really cool.
How does
And
it feel?
I couldn't have done it if I didn't have my own studio.
Well, there you go.
Impossible.
And how does it feel after all these years to put out like a breakout album? Not many people are in your shoes.
Well, it feels great. I mean, because all the other albums we did, they did okay. We got a nice budget, but you never really got any royalties. The only ones I got royalties on was some of the Cactus ones, you know? And, that's why people didn't want to do it. Like the last King Cobra record I did, the 2 guitar players didn't want to do it. They said, look, you work your butt off, you do it. It comes out, nobody hears it, nobody buys it. I said, yeah, it makes sense. But I said, but you can keep the legend going, That's why I did the Cactus records, I did Vanilla Fudge records. They didn't sell like they used to sell, but you keep the name going, you keep the legend going. And but with this one, I felt that since it was Brian's idea that the label will push it, and the people I got on it, I mean, I did a Joe Bonamassa podcast, right? And we were talking. He said, with Cactus, when you did Parchman Farm, it blew my brains out. I said, well, I'm doing a new version with Billy Sheehan on bass, me, my singer who plays harp, and maybe Jim McCarty going to play the verses. I just need a solo. He says, I'm in. Right? So that's how we got Bonamassa on the record.
Wow.
He said it on his podcast. So I couldn't be too impressed saying, well, Joe said he'd do it, but then he didn't do it. But he's a good guy. He does a lot of stuff like that. So he smoked on that part. And then Billy Sheehan was in love with anything that Vanilla Fudge or anything that Tim Bogert did. Anything. He says, you need me for anything to do a tribute to Tim, I'm there. So he did Parchman Farm, and not only that, he did Oleo, which had Tim's bass solo in it. So I said, we'll do Oleo with Tim's bass solo. You want to do that? He goes, no problem. So when he did it, the bass solo he did sounded just like Tim. He used all the same thing. He even did a fuzz tone at a certain point.
Wow.
When he heard where I did the drum fill, I told him 20 bars in, that's where the fuzz tone hits. So we got it down. So then I said, who's going to play guitar on this? I said, well, let me Steve Stevens. And he's an awesome player. And I didn't know that he was from Brooklyn and he was a Cactus fan.
Wow.
I hung out with him in Japan. We became friends. And, I would talk to him when I see him in L.A. I call him, say hi, vice versa. But he said, man, I'd love to do that. I'm a Cactus fan, man. I grew up in Brooklyn. I said, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot of these people were Cactus fans. Doug Aldridge and Malcolm Mendoza from Whitesnake. And I knew Rudy Saza. I knew Billy was. I didn't know Warren Haynes was, So Ted Nugent I knew was, so I know Ted a long time.
Well, that proves the need for this album. And so here it is. And we're dropping it on June 7th, correct?
Yeah. That's when it comes out to buy. But I understand the tracks are on Spotify to get. And,
all right.
The video we did with the first one with Evil, people are loving it. They're loving it. The next one we do, the one with Ted's going to be wild. We already filmed Ted. And it was definitely the Motor City Madman on that video. so now I'm doing mine on the 28th. So I gotta be a little crazy on it,
There you go.
Yeah. So and Doug Pinnick is singing and going to play bass. So we're going to tell him to be a little crazy also. So we all fit together,
I love it, and I love that you're having so much fun with it because that's the most important part. I
am having fun. And that's why people go, how long are you going to play? I said, look, until I can't play anymore. As long as I'm having fun.
Exactly.
I have the drums in my studio. I don't go on there every day and practice. Because, I don't have the ambition to do that. If I got to play to a song, that's when I play.
Yeah.
Unless there's something I really want to work on, then I'll go in and do it. But I don't just go every day and just sit and play. I've been playing the drum pads and the technical stuff for the hands every day almost, But,
well, you're
difference.
still a legend and still amazing. And this album is amazing.
Thank you.
Let's just tell everybody real quick how they can pre-save the album, pre-order it, connect with you and all that stuff.
Well, I got all my Facebook and all that, Carmine Appice Official. I got Instagram. I don't even know what all these addresses are because I'm not on there all the time. But my website, that's not working right now from here, but it's CarmineAppice.net. And I understand you could order the album, pre-order it on Amazon and all those kind of things. And pretty much that's it. You can buy it.
And they can also go to cactusrocks.net.
Cactusrocks.net. We're updating that website right now.
Nice.
It's funny, Tim Bogert's son does that for a living. And, they had an on and off relationship. And when I talked to him a few weeks ago, I said, we got to do a new website. So he said, I'll do it. Let me do it. It's tribute to my dad. And I said, okay. So he's going to do it. He's going to take care of the website. So we're building a new one right now that's going to have all the gigs on it, VIPs if you want to be a VIP. shows all the dates we have. It shows the album, shows the history. So it's going to be great.
I love it. I love the new album. Everybody's got to check out the new music. It's amazing. And man, thanks for giving us such great music after over 5 decades. It's amazing.
Thank you for still listening. And, you know, I never thought in my wildest dreams that those Cactus songs in this year, 2024, would come out alive again.
Right.
You know? But pretty amazing.
Here we are. And so
I thank everybody for supporting it.
And thank you for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Hi, this is Carmine Appice, and you're listening to W4CY Radio.